You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. The thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. People often ask me, especially when I put up a picture on Instagram, how I'm in such good shape. Say, how are you in such good shape when all you do is travel the world and drink alcohol and smoke cigars?
The idea
you barely
of
go to the gym. And I say that I train in my sleep, and they call me crazy. Because I can lucidly dream, because I can control my dreams, which is another podcast in and of itself. I train in my dreams. I convince my mind that I've trained. I convince my mind that I need to be ready for war, and my body reacts accordingly. It is the ideas that are real. What do they say in the Matrix? The body cannot exist without the mind. It's the ideas that are real. An idea in and of itself is real enough. If you remember a dream the same way you remember a real event, they are basically the same. My body proves that because I do most of my training as I sleep. So lucid dreaming is basically, I don't know if anyone's here has had a dream that you realize is a dream and then you can control it. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
So you're in a dream and then you go, for me personally, I'll be in a dream and something will happen and I go, that doesn't make sense. Oh wait, I'm dreaming. And then I can fly and shit. Now, usually I can only do it for like a minute or two in dream time. You know, time's a bit different in dreams until the dream ends. And I usually wake up where the dream ends. So it's kind of annoying because sometimes I'll be in a dream and I'll realize it's a dream and I'll start doing some shit. And then I'll also consciously know that I'm running out of time before the dream ends. It's weird. So that's how I dream. So the way I do that, and when I say that I use my dreams to calculate things, is because if you're ever heartbroken or upset, or you're really worried or stressed, you might dream about the problem. So I do that consciously. If I have a problem in my life or something I have to worry about or be concerned about, I'll try and make sure I dream about it. And then in the dream, I know I'm in a dream. And it's basically dedicating time of my life, dedicating the time I was sleeping to solving a problem or dealing with a problem. How many amazing songs have been written in a dream? Or how many scientific discoveries were from dreams? Look it up. Look up discoveries from dreams. The number of scientists who woke up and go, bang, it came to me in my sleep, it came to me in my dream, because you're obsessed with a problem and your mind works it out at rest. So the key to lucid dreaming is this. You have to try and remember your last thought before you fall asleep. And I know that sounds easy, but think about last night when you went to sleep. Your eyes were closed. You were thinking of this, then you were thinking of this, then you were thinking of this, and then you were half awake because you kind of heard a noise and you felt the covers on you, but you weren't asleep, but you weren't awake. But what were you thinking of? Kind of nothing. You have to remember the exact last thought you had before you went to sleep. And it's harder to do than you think, because when you start doing that, you start turning your brain on to focus, and then you can't sleep. So you have to do it like Zen. You have to just Zen go, I'm going to sleep, but I'm going to keep track. Right now I'm thinking of this dumb shit. Okay, now I'm thinking of that dumb shit. And sequentially in order, remember all the things you're thinking about until you remember the last thing you thought about before you went to sleep. When I started learning how to do that, there on out, about 70% of the times I would dream, it would be lucid. And I genuinely, even to this day, I'll be in a dream doing whatever, and I'll lift up a cat and go, that has no weight. This is a dream. Okay, this is a dream. So I'll just float through this wall quickly. Where's Tristan? Or me go on the computer, and I'll just control it for like 2 minutes. It's weird. But it happens by remembering what you're thinking about before you fall asleep. And if you actually genuinely think about that task, and think about, now when you go to sleep, you'll be trying to do it and you'll realize, I'm thinking a bunch of bullshit, or I'm thinking of a memory, or I'm half remembering something, that your mind kind of falls apart a little bit as you fall asleep. If you can keep track of it, you can control your dreams. And for me, if I ever have a genuine real issue, I can literally say, I'll deal with it. I'll think about that later when I'm sleeping. I know it sounds stupid, but it's true. I would accredit it to my success when I was kickboxing. I believe that if my brain synapse is firing, it must have, for X action, it must have a positive reflection on that action. If my X synapse, if the synapse in my brain is firing to slip a jab in a particular way, and my brain is firing, even if my body isn't moving, but my brain is firing to slip that jab, I believe that on a long enough time scale of my brain imagining me doing something repeatedly over and over and over again, I'm going to be better at doing that action, even if my body doesn't reflect. So when I say I train in my dreams, that's exactly what I mean. I would train, I imagine slipping punches in my dreams and how I would do it. And although my body wasn't doing the thing because I was sleep, but my synapses were firing the same. And I believe that had a positive impact and a positive effect. That can't be proved, but I believe it. And if I believe it, that also gives it power.
There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people I barely sleep, and I never not work, and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, but work on what? I don't know what to work on. Bro, You need 10 passports, you need 25 bank accounts, you need shell companies, you need a trust fund, you need to make some money, you then need to move that money away, you need multiple places to live, you need a place for your children to live, they need a trust fund. You have stuff to do.
Yep.
And then people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind-boggling to me. And there are some people who you just can't help. There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you could possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important, because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never gonna get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon, and say it's gonna take you right to the treasure. It's gonna be a 7-day journey. Here's a sandwich, and halfway through they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah, you just said that, 7 days, nah.
Yeah, and they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're gonna get it.
You're gonna find a way to get it.
You're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast recently, and he was saying if someone had a gun to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm gonna move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are gonna make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're gonna be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
I can't stop myself working as a person who doesn't need money. And then there's people with no money who don't work. It blows my mind, which is why the winners are winners and the losers are losers. Losers do a little bit of work and rest. Winners work as hard as possible and worry they're not working hard enough. It's just a separation of personality types. And it's almost like you can't save these people. I have something I sent in my email recently. I said, you could give the average man a brand new Ferrari and a road map and a coffee and a full tank of gas and tell him the destination, success. And halfway along the drive, he'll quit because it's too far. No matter how well you set it up for people, they'll quit. Then they say, this is what's another thing that's amazing to me about motivation. I don't feel motivated. Newsflash, neither do I sometimes. You're not gonna always feel like doing it. You have to do it anyway because it's your duty to do it because you don't want to be a loser. That's the whole point. If you felt like doing it all the time, then there would be no magic to it. The magic is that you do it regardless of how you feel.
How do you stay motivated when you're
I
like,
haven't
I'm the
missed
man?
a day of work in 10 years. I've never had a day off. Maybe I've had days where I've gone driving in the supercars and I've only done 2 hours work instead of 8 hours. I've never had a day where I thought, okay, I'm not gonna work. Never once ever. My screen time on my phone is 9 hours a day, every fucking day. I do not miss a day of work ever. If I'm the most viral Googled man on the earth, it does not change a fucking thing. I am working. Earth must be conquered. The matrix must be attacked and shattered. I do not stop. I will not quit. I will not surrender. I am not that person. I have zero interest in rest or respite. It's bullshit for cowards. Even the idea of resting aggravates my mind. So what I'm supposed to do this? Wait, let me practice.
Sure.
Yeah, that sucks.
No, but is there...
That sucks.
Bro, I got shit to do. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even contemplate the idea. People say to me, if I had your money, Tate, I'd just go chill. That's why you'll never have my money, dummy.
Well,
Because
here's
you
my
just want to go
question
do
to that,
nothing.
though.
I don't want to do nothing.
Do you
I want
have-
to do shit.
A lot of teens or young people or even adults, they're suffering from a lot of mental health issues.
Okay.
And what's your advice to them?
The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have an ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a f***ing loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only.
What started that fire inside early on, or did it kind of just develop through time and get hotter and hotter?
Well, I think everybody has a fire inside of them, but it's pacified. It's deliberately extinguished by society because one, the matrix wants you docile, which is the first thing. And second thing is people live lives of comfort. A lot of people, I think all men are born with a masculine desire to conquer Earth. And I think you're only going to be happy if you're conquering. But if you're living a semi-comfortable life and your mother is nice to you and you're not under any pressure and the matrix is telling you it's fine to just be average, well, then you're going to be sitting there being average. I was never comforted. I was never given an easy life. I never had anyone in my life who was saying, don't worry, Andrew, it's okay to just be this guy. I was told the opposite all the time. I don't know if the fire inside of me is any bigger than it is inside of every other man. And I think that every man at home watching this, if they don't have the things they want in life, should feel a degree of resentment towards themselves or disappointment, understanding that they have the same desire and drive that I have. They just allowed themselves to be psyoped out of it. They've allowed the matrix or whoever to convince them it's okay to not be the man they could be. And I never allowed anybody to do that to me. When I was 15, my first job was carrying boxes of fish from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. And I would run to work. So I'd leave the house at 6, I'd run an hour, I'd get there at 7, I'd finish work at 5, and then I'd run from there to the fight gym. Get to the fight gym, I'd get there early before training started. I'd eat food next to the gym, and then I'd train, and then I would get a ride home from my girlfriend at the time. So my entire life was 17 hours a day of just running and working and carrying boxes and fighting. The answer to everything has always been raw action. My dad had a tweet about this. He said that raw action solves all. And he used to say this. I'll give you an example. If you're a farmer and you need rain for your crop and there's no rain, you can sit there and say there's no rain, we're all going to starve. Or you can stand up and do a rain dance. Now, will your rain dance work? Perhaps not. Perhaps the rain won't come. But I would argue that you're better off standing up doing that rain dance than just sitting there waiting to die. You have to do something. Raw action solves. So when I was broke, I was never like, I'm poor, what do I do? It was, I'm poor, I have to do something. If I was broke, I'd go for a run. That's why I was such a great fighter. If I was broke, I'd sit there and go, I'm actually poor. How do I make money? Dunno. Where can I get some cash? Dunno. What work can I do? Dunno. I'll just go for a run then. And I'd just go for 3-mile run or go hit the punch bag and get better.
This resonates so deeply, man. This is exactly what I did.
That's exactly. You just have to say, well, I have to do something. I can't just sit still and die. A lot of people are happy to just sit still and die or jerk off and go to sleep and take a nap. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you can say a loser. That's fine. I'm glad there are losers, because if everyone had Lamborghinis, my Lamborghini wouldn't be fun to show off. I need you to look at it and feel the deep pain in your heart of regret and failure. That's the whole point of it. I feel like we live in a world where there is not enough action. There's a lot of people who know things, all talk, but they're all talk. There's not enough action. They don't do anything. So we need to get some action moving. So we're going to begin this with some action. And I want you guys to understand something about every single decision you make in life. Every single decision you make in life is a pivoting point upon which you can embark on two different journeys. E.g., you decide if you want to jerk off or not.
Okay, this is an important one. This is a pivotal moment that many of you face daily, multiple times daily for some of you.
Get off, J.O. You can go yes or you can go no. But these two paths lead in completely different directions. You'll lead a completely different and new life depending on the decision you make. There's yes path and there's no path, and they're brand new lives. So the action we're going to try and inspire from you right now here early on is going to embark you down one of two paths. You're either going to take action and live the yes life, or you're going to sit around and do nothing like you've done for most of your human existence and live the no life.
And me as a man, when I put myself through hell, when I have had such exacting, such stringent standards for myself, why would I then have less exacting, stringent standards on the people I meet? Why would I put myself through hell to be me and then meet someone who didn't put themselves through hell and then treat them like my equal? No, f*** you. I suffered when you didn't. So you're not my equal because you decided not to suffer. You have enjoyed comfort when I haven't, and that's fine, but don't expect me to look at you as my equal because you're not. I'll snap your neck.
I think that as humans, especially as men, we only learn the hard way anyway. There's two ways to learn a lesson, the hard way and the hardest way. There's no easy way to learn a lesson. You have to learn the hard way. So God gives us lessons via difficulty. He thinks you need to learn this about yourself or this about other people. So I'm going to give you a difficult time so you can learn your lesson. Because if I told you, if I just said, hey, Andrew, this is how the world works, you go, yeah. But when I show you, when you feel it, my fight coach used to say, you have to feel it to believe it. There's a lot of people who complain about the bad things that happen in their life, not understanding that without the bad things, you'd have no life at all. You need all of the bad things. You need the mental struggle. You need to go through things which you regret. You need to sit there so that if you've never regretted any action you've ever taken, how can you sit and make a intelligent decision for the future? You can't do it. You need to sit and say, well, I felt the sting of regret for X. I don't want to feel the sting of regret for Y. You need this experience, and that's what life is all about. People think that life is just the good times, and this is the massive misconception. But they say you should have no interest in what people think about you. That makes you insecure, and that is the largest psyop in history. To wake up and say, I'm not going to be successful, I'm not going to be strong, I'm not going to be interesting, I'm not going to go out there and test myself, and I'm not going to put honor on my last name because I would hate for people to think I'm insecure. I'm secure, so it doesn't matter if you think I'm a loser, and it doesn't matter if I am a loser, so I'm just going to sit at home and I'm secure. No, it's not insecurity. It's called duty to your last name and honor, and that's just another one of the many different tentacles inside of the psyop octopus, trying to snatch any motivation left from the masculine spirit.
So Andrew, you're a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
You also have crypto.
Yep.
You also invest in different investments.
Yeah.
So for someone that's a young person coming up,
Yeah.
what is the best piece of advice you can give to them to make it to be successful?
Right. So if someone were to say to me from absolute ground zero, how to get rich? All right. That's a good question. So I would say do two things. The first thing I would say you should do is develop a phone addiction. And you should develop a phone addiction, but you should refuse to consume content and only create content.
Genius.
So it doesn't, I will say right here, right now, I have a genuine phone addiction.
Me too.
9-10 hours a day screen time.
Me too.
I live on my phone. I'm on my phone. That's where the money is, that's where the is.
Facts.
So where else am I going to be? Right? I'm on my phone. You see me, I'm always just on my phone, right? I have a phone addiction. But I'm not consuming a bunch of crap, right? I'm producing on my Twitter account. I'm constantly tweeting. Doesn't matter if it's just tweets, doesn't matter if it's TikToks, doesn't matter if it's YouTube videos. Produce.
Yep.
If you spend all those waking hours producing, eventually people will pay attention to you.
Yes.
And we live in an attention economy.
Yep.
This is the economy we now live in. It's no longer about competence like it used to be. It's not even so much, it's about attention and it's about network. It's those two things. It's who you know and it's how many people pay attention to you. So if you develop a phone addiction and you refuse to consume and you only create, you'll start to attract attention sooner or later. And when you can do that, there's usually lots of different ways to monetize it.
If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We live in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart, I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become.